Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Kechidori.
Hi guys, welcome back to another very special episode, and with me is Dr. Bruno Cignacco, who is an exceptional researcher and who's been helping business owners for the last 34 years in different areas of business, and he's also an author and a consultant, and he's a TEDx speaker as well. Dr. Bruno, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you very much for your invite. Thank you.
Yes. Now, Bruno has done quite a lot of things, and over the last 20 years has advised and trained hundreds of business owners when it comes to building relationship in their organization. And today we want to focus on the importance of building relationship in your organization, because with what is happening in the world right now, if you don't have good relationship with the key stakeholders in your company, the chances of you thriving in the environment we find ourselves in are very, very slim. Dr. Bruno, for those who haven't come across your work, give us a very brief introduction to the work that you've done in the past and what you are working on right now.
Thank you for the question. I'm a consultant, a professor at university. I'm also a professional researcher on compassionate business and also international marketing. I have been advising companies for nearly more than 25, 30 years on international marketing and also compassionate business. Over the last few years, I have been advising companies. I deliver talks also worldwide, and also I deliver some training, especially tailor-made training for companies, small and medium-sized companies, but also I focus in some cases on big companies that they want some approach on business that is non-traditional, which means compassionate business.
Yes, and one of the things that really caught my attention when we started organizing you having on the show was when you mentioned that many companies that you've worked with wrongly focus on achieving KPIs like profitability and productivity, which of course are very good indicators, but they neglect one of the primary areas that will have a positive impact in all these areas, which is building relationship. Now, tell us when you discovered this concept.
Very interesting concept. You know what? I read an article many years ago that was titled "The Human Moment at Work." And in this article, there were a lot of cases of companies that were connecting to one another. The employees were connecting to one another using technology. But there were a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of doubtfulness, and they were not connecting on a mental and emotional level. They were not building strong relationship with different stakeholders. Yeah. This author observed that there should be more human moments in business, more human moments at work, where employees can connect much more strongly. They can develop long-term relationship. And I agree with what you said, because many companies tend to focus only on the bottom line, which means profit. They look for these key performance indicators such as profitability, productivity, efficiency, which are very important. But we have to understand that this is a very limited approach on business. Why? Because we focus only on the bottom line, which means profit, economic objectives. But there is a much wider perspective on business. We call this the triple bottom line, focusing on profits, that are very important, focusing on people, this means caring for individuals like customers, suppliers, employees, community members. Why is it so important to focus on individuals? Because business is about relationships. No company can thrive on its own. No company can thrive by itself. Companies need to succeed the support of buyers, suppliers, employees, community members, and if the company doesn't support these stakeholders, individuals and groups with interest in our organization, this stakeholder won't support the company in return. So companies should focus on profits. So companies should focus on people, caring for people, developing mutually beneficial relationship with people, customers, suppliers, employee, community members, and also caring for the planet. This means being environmentally friendly, recycling, using renewable sources of energy. So this is what we call the triple bottom line. And many companies only focus on this KPI. And we have to understand that these KPI are always the natural result of the interaction between a company and its stakeholders. So when a company, instead of focusing on this KPI, focus on improving the relationship with these stakeholders, these key performance indicators tend to improve naturally, organically.
Amazing, amazing. And you've discovered from the organization you've worked with over the years that when executives focus on developing people, their organization thrives and grows. Tell us some of the examples of where you've actually seen the immediate effect of this.
Very interesting question. I'll give you some example. I cannot mention the company's names because there is a contract confidentiality, but I can mention some example. I saw some cases of companies that were not only paying a good salary to employees, but also recognizing employees' achievement, recognizing employees' contribution. How? For example, writing a thank you hand sign and giving this note to the employees in person. By doing so, this employee not only feel appreciated, but they feel acknowledged. They feel that their effort, their contribution counted. And this is very important because when employees feel acknowledged and obviously appreciated, these employees tend to go the extra mile. These employees tend to work more hours over time in an unconditional way. I saw another example of companies that do not treat employees in a compassionate way. How they do this? They make employees work over time without recognition. They exploit employees. In some cases, they fire employees mercilessly. And in those cases, what happens? These employees tend to leave the company. They're not fired. Or if they work at this company, they work by the book. They work the minimal number of hours. They do not contribute so much. Why? Because they don't feel appreciated. Another example is companies that appreciate customers, companies that are compassionate with customers. How they do this? They give more than expected. When companies under-promise and over-deliver, this means that companies are not focused on selling products to customers. They are focusing on serving customers. This means that they're trying to add value to this customer. They try to solve problems. When customers feel that the companies try to solve their problems and they feel appreciated and acknowledged, this customer is more prone to go and talk to other customers and recommend this company to other customers, which might become also current customer for this company. And this customer might even leave positive reviews online. This means what we call positive word of mouth. Instead, also, I saw some example of companies that deceive customers, manipulate customers. They make customers sign contract with fine print that is deceptive. And then when customer discover this, will say, okay, I don't like this company. The customer might try to complain, might try to return the product or get a refund, and might even leave negative reviews online. This customer will become negative promoted for this company. So we have example of compassionate companies and example of non-compassionate companies. When companies act in a compassionate way with different stakeholders, there is a principle in social psychology that we call the law of reciprocity. You treat others in a compassionate and supportive way, and they tend to treat you in a reciprocal way. They tend to treat you in a similar way. They tend to support you. They tend to contribute to your company. Instead, when you treat others in a non-compassionate way, you try to deceive them, you try to manipulate them, these individuals, customers, suppliers, employee, community members, tend to withdraw, tend not to cooperate. So this is very important to understand because business is about relationships. No company can thrive by itself. And the most important brick, the building brick of any business activity is the individual, the human being. So when we support the human being, the business activity will tend to thrive, succeed. Instead, when we dismiss the individual, the most important factor in any business activity, this is very important to understand that we cannot dismiss relationship. You cannot achieve this indicator, KPI, without taking care of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is so evident not only in my life but in many other business owners we've had the privilege of talking to during these discussions we have online. Is the organizations that place enormous value on the people that work with them often thrives in many ways. Let's talk very briefly. I know you've touched some areas already, but what are some of these steps that any business owner who wants to create a thriving business can take to ensure that they're building great relationships?
Very important question. You know what is the most simple tip, the most actionable tip? If you are a business owner or if you are an employee working for a company, you should be more generous. Generosity is one of the most important values in any business activity. I give you an example. I'm half Italian and I go to London. There are two coffee shops here in London, very well known, big chains. And I like cappuccino. I used to drink a lot of cappuccino. And I go to the first company. I ask for a cappuccino. And they tell me, I will bring this cappuccino to your table. Good. 15 minutes later, they bring the cappuccino. The cappuccino was cold. I was a bit upset. The cappuccino should be hot. I didn't say anything. I didn't complain. I left this company. I went to the competitors' outlets. And then in that place, I asked for a cappuccino and similar price, similar characteristics. And so they told me, we will bring the cappuccino to the table. Competitors' company. I was waiting for the cappuccino. 2 minutes later, they bring the cappuccino. I tried the cappuccino, nice, hot, and then they forgot a tray with biscuits on the table. I said, sorry, you're forgetting this tray with biscuits. I didn't order any biscuits. No, I didn't forget anything. These are for you. These are for you to enjoy the cappuccino. This is a gift from our company. I said, okay. So you see the two examples. The first company, not even meeting my minimum expectation, delaying the cappuccino, cold cappuccino, bad customer service. The second company exceeding my expectation. This means giving more than expected. When a company is generous, they create an imbalance, a positive imbalance. They give more than expected. And so by doing so, customer, in my case, they feel indebted. We feel indebted. Why? Because we receive more than expected. And in my case, what I did, I recommended this company to my clients, to my friends, to my relatives. And which company do you think that I'm going currently? Well, I will go to the second company. Why? Because it's the one that treated me with respect. Not only appreciated me, but also tried to exceed my expectation. They tried to delight me. So the first company didn't even try to satisfy my needs. So when a company is generous, give more than expected. I see, for example, companies that are selling computers. What the company can do, if the company is selling computers, they can offer a training course free for customers to use this computer so that they can get added value. And from the company perspective, it might not represent higher cost, but from the customer perspective, represent a lot of value. So you have to give more than expected. Why? The same happens with employees. The same applies to employees, not only to customers, to employees, to the community, to suppliers, because when the company is generous, because of the low reciprocity, these stakeholders tend to respond in a positive way. When a company is stingy, calculating, look for only win-lose relationships or win-lose agreements, these stakeholders tend not to cooperate, tend to withdraw. So it's very important for companies to under-promise, means try to have a very low profile, promise only what they can deliver, not exaggerating, and then over-deliver. This means deliver more than is expected. So this is a very important. Another tip to improve relationship with the stakeholder is to be appreciative. This means thankful. I see many companies that are not appreciative with employees. They're not appreciative, for example, with customers. Even when customers didn't buy from our company, you should be appreciative. Why? Because these customers spend their time and took their time to assess our products, our services. You always have to be appreciative. Could be a thank you note, could be, for example, an email showing appreciation to this customer, or could be, in the case of employees, many companies, what they do, they celebrate this with some event. For example, if the employees achieve important objective, that could be an event, virtual event or in-person event, where employees are acknowledged, where employees are appreciated. Because when you appreciate people, you allow them to give their best. They feel acknowledged, they feel recognized. We have this need to be acknowledged, to be loved, to be appreciated.
Yeah, amazing. We all have got this deep need to be acknowledged, even if we don't know as human beings. And I've learned, in running my own company, that the moment I pick one thing about one employee that I like about them or what they're doing for the company. For example, 2 weeks ago, we had our summit, and one of my virtual assistants, went over and above to help us to make that happen. And when I mentioned that, in front of all the staff, and also, of course, privately, you could tell, she was overwhelmed with emotions, and her dedication, went really high. And others can observe that and create that culture of appreciative. Certainly, brings more in your organization than anything else. Is there anything else that business owners can do right now to build that relationship?
Yes, for example, be open to feedback. So you have to be open to feedback. Feedback comes from different sources. For example, I see many companies, some clients of mine, when they receive negative feedback from customers, they get a bit annoyed. For example, when customers complain about quality or the delivery terms or the price, they feel a bit upset, annoyed. And I always tell them, feedback from different stakeholders is gold. Is gold. Why? Because it's a very important learning opportunity to grow, to improve your activity, business activity, to improve your product, to innovate, to be more creative, to use different approaches. So you have free research there. Feedback is free research, disposable, is in your hands, and is given freely for you to improve. You have to consider this from a different perspective. You have to frame this differently. Instead of considering feedback as negative, you have to consider feedback as an opportunity to learn. So I always tell my client that to pay attention to the feedback, especially when it comes from employees and customers, because customers are the one using the company's products and services, and employees are the one in contact with different stakeholders, are the interface between internal environment and the external environment of this company. So, for example, if employees are complaining that working very long hours and they are depleted and they have some symptoms of burnout and they are a bit stressed, companies should pay attention to this feedback, because if not, there will be a lot of absenteeism, there will be higher health costs, there will be a lot of turnover, employees leaving this company. So we have to pay attention, and this will affect productivity, this will affect competitiveness. If many customers are complaining about the quality levels of our products and services, well, we might look into this. We might discuss with the production department, with the marketing department, with different departments across the departmental meeting to see what is going on. Why so many customers are complaining? What are competitors doing better than us that they don't have so many complaints? So complaints and any type of feedback, I don't like to call them complaints, any type of feedback is always constructive. So companies should be more open to feedback, and they can learn from different sources. They can even learn from people that are not closely related to business. They can get some feedback from the janitor working for the company, or they can get some feedback from suppliers, or they can get some feedback from intermediaries, for example, retailers. All this feedback is of value, because all this feedback can help companies to add more value, to solve the problems of different customers in a much more effective way.
Amazing. I really like that. Somebody perhaps is thinking, these are all good points, but what can I focus my attention to, maybe on a short-term basis, that will increase their chances in building a sustainable relationship or a thriving relationship with business owners? In your opinion, what would you say?
Okay. Yes, I will say focus more on qualitative aspect of business, for example, compassion, care, camaraderie, support, empathy, and focus less on quantitative aspect of business, what can be measured, what can be counted, such as profit, market share, sales. I'm not saying that quantitative aspect of business are not important, but there should be a balance between quantitative aspect of business, profit, market share, sales, and also qualitative aspect of business, what cannot be measured, what cannot be counted, but is as important as quantitative. There is a famous thinker that observed, not everything that counts can be counted, not everything that can be counted counts. So we need both. We need quantitative business related economic parameters such as key performance indicator, profitability, productivity, and also we need qualitative aspects of business which are related to relationship, robust relationship with different stakeholders such as compassion, care, camaraderie, loyalty, commitment. These are as important as quantitative aspects of business.
Amazing. This is very, very helpful, and for those who are listening, I hope you're also taking notes just as much as I'm doing here, because these have been a proven concept to increase your chances of thriving if you're running a small business or even a bigger business. Get these things right, everything else will take care of itself. Bruno, we are coming toward the end of our time here together, and I know our audience, especially the executives on LinkedIn in our community, they would definitely love to connect with you. Where can they connect with you? Where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find my name on LinkedIn, and also they can find me, for example, my two websites are www.brunocignacco.com and www.humanorientedenterprise.com. And if they want to know more about this idea, they can check my new book, The Art of Compassionate Business, that can be found anywhere, offline or online.
Amazing. That's great. Final thoughts as we wrap up here on the subject of building relationships in your organization, Bruno. Or anything you wish our audience would know that I've not asked you about?
Well, I will say that it's important for the audience to ask themselves a very important question: how can I be more supportive with different stakeholders? How can I be more generous with different stakeholders? How can I be more grateful with different stakeholders? How can I build relationships that exceed the short term, that are mutually beneficial relationships, which means that the needs of both parties are met? How can I give more than expected to different stakeholders? These are questions for self-reflection. I think that they're very useful.
Amazing. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got any question, reach out to Bruno. And I truly believe the subject we've covered here together is just an intro into an area that you as a business owner need to focus on if you are to thrive in your business. So reach out to Bruno for more information, or participate in the group, ask any question that you may have around building relationships in your organization. Truly, you get this right, you can pivot in any circumstance or in any climate, in any challenge, because people will go with you wherever you want to go or to take your business to. With that said, have a great day, and I look forward to catching up with you very, very soon here on the Business Show, and also on our challenge. In fact, we have our challenge coming up very soon called the Thrive Challenge, which you also find the link below. And for those who attended the Reinvent Yourself Challenge, you know what to expect. It's a great turnout on that one. So we are delighted that many of you are participating in these challenges, because I know they're making a real difference from the feedback that I'm getting. And if you know anyone who can benefit from this, send them the link so they can participate. Bruno, absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I look forward to catching up with you on another episode as well, maybe, to talk about another different aspect of business.
Thank you very much. I feel very honored. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.